Watched the interview with her and Mariah Sincere. And y'all know, fuck Mariah Sincere. I don't like that bitch. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story. Uh Mariah Sincere, I give her some credit. She did try to present an argument to an extent, but as far as she can go. Uh see, so she addressed the video, um, and she did, and the girl, Valentina, exclusive tours, she tried to clear it up at the end of the debate. You know, she tried to clear it up. But when you get the logistics of it, she said she liked tourists coming to come spend money, right? But she don't like when they come stay because of gentrification, right? She says she doesn't like the sex tourists, right? And stuff like that, right? Cool. But here's the problem with that. She's mad at so when she said, we don't need tourists, we don't need foreigners, that's her true intentions. She doesn't like foreigners, she doesn't like tourists, she just benefits off of it. So when Mariah said, you're grifting, if you're going to stand on business, stand on business. It's all her excuse is supply and demand, right? When Mariah tried to explain to her that we have gentrification in America, it went over her head. She couldn't understand this because her perception of America is one thing. She don't even understand what's going on. She's never been here, right? Now, with that being said, nobody should book no tours with her, but we already know it's suckers and simps and they gonna support this bitch. But that's neither here nor there. The Chill Capo situation is hilarious because Chill Capo had video of her being in his DM asking for money or a cheaper price for something. She looked like a prostitute to me. When I first saw her, she looked like one of them bitches in Parkeyeras. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. She looked conniving and evil. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's the big homie. We gonna stand on it. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not saying she a prostitute. I don't know, but that's what I thought when I first looked at her. But neither here nor there. Now, think about when Mariah presented the idea where she said she hate foreigners, she don't like foreigners staying because of the gentrification, right? She said when Mariah brought up the Colombians who will partake in selling properties and upping the price and all this, she had no problem with that. So once again, when it comes to gentrification, who's the major factor in this situation? Local Colombians. She don't see nothing wrong. Right. She doesn't see nothing wrong when local Colombians raise the prices and do all this shit and sell property. But she got a problem with foreigners that pays these prices and stuff like that. So basically, she don't like foreigners. Now let's switch it over to the sex tourism, right? Because notice with gentrification, how she blames foreigners for something that local Colombians are doing and that they control. But that's neat. So now let's switch it over to the sex tourism. Make it, we don't want sex tourism. We don't want sex tourists. We don't want that, right? She says she doesn't want sex tourists, but then when somebody said, let's make the prostitution illegal, that's not the answer. That's literally what she said in the comments. So she don't have a problem with prostitution. She just have a problem with sex tourists. How does that make sense? So Colombia, prostitution is legal. In Colombia, in Medellin, they have brothels, strip clubs where Colombian women are in these clubs selling pussy, and Colombian men own these clubs. They own the bottles. They own everything in these clubs. They buy these clubs. The government pays. They pay taxes to the government. The government gets a cut from all this. She doesn't have a problem with that. And when Mariah brought up Chill Capo going to clubs, these were clubs that were owned by Colombians. So Chill Capo says, hey man, come to Colombia. Let's chill. We go out. We're going to go to this club right here. And if it's prostitutes in this club, it's sexual exploitation. She got a problem with that. But she don't got a problem with the women who get up every day to go work in these clubs. She got a problem. She don't got a problem with the Colombian men that keep the lights on and make sure that these Colombian women work in these clubs. There's 1,000 women walking the streets of Parque Lleras. All you got to do is pull up the videos. You'll see thousands of women walking all through Parque Lleras Park. These are Colombian women and Venezuelan women that are out there. She doesn't have a problem with none of these women that get up on their own initiative to go sell pussy to the foreigners. And not only does she not have a problem with that, she doesn't have a problem with local Colombian men going to pay for pussy by Colombian women. Parque Lleras ain't the only area that sell pussy for prostitutes. Local men also indulge in that. But she doesn't see a problem with that. She only sees a problem with the sex tourists, the foreigners. The same way she don't see a problem with the local Colombians who sell property and up the price, which is how the country is Medellin, the city of Medellin is getting gentrified. So she don't have a problem with the Colombians that are doing wrong, but she only has a problem with the foreigners. This is how you know it's not just about sex tourists. This is something they don't like tourists in general. And they use the sex tourism to disguise their hatred for tourists in general. You guys should not be booking with this bitch because she clearly said she don't want tourists, period. Everything, because this is what I'm trying to say. The go home gringo, the sex tourism, that's just the scapegoat for go home gringo. You making everything go up. It's hard for me to survive. Prices is too high. It's because of y'all. Those are the real sentiments. And y'all should not be booking with her. But simps and clowns are going to go book with this bird. You feel me? Now, if she was like, yo, I'm against prostitution. It should be illegal. It's wrong. I don't want sex tourists coming. I don't want local women selling pussy. I don't want local men paying for it. It should be illegal. I would have no issues with nothing she said. But to sit up here and say you're against sex tourism, but you're not against the cartels who own all the clubs and the brothels, and you're not against the local women who get up here and go to these places and sell pussy on their own initiatives, on their own agendas. You're mad at the tourists that's like literally being mad at tourists for coming to Colombia to buy eating Colombian food at a vendor or a restaurant. It is not illegal to eat food in Colombia. It's not illegal to buy pussy in the country. So saying you don't have a problem with somebody going to eat food, but then you got a problem with somebody going to buy pussy, when you should be mad at the vendor and the person that owns the restaurant. If there are no girls there, tourists don't have nowhere. If it's illegal, tourists is not going to do it. If there are no clubs, no brothels, they have brothels out there. Then to say tourists are turning Medellin into a brothel when y'all have brothels in Medellin. See, instead of saying end all the brothels, end all the strip clubs, end all that shit, get rid of it. Tourists don't have the guys who come down there for that, there's nowhere to go for them for that. But instead of doing that, you don't want to do that because you're full of shit. So you're not against prostitution, you're just against foreigners coming. You're not against gentrification. I mean, you're not against gentrification because if you was against gentrification, you would be mad at the local Colombians that's selling and doing all this shit, raising the prices. You're just mad at the foreigners for paying it. And the only thing you could do is point at them. So, being that you said you don't want tourists and you benefit from it, you should stop doing tours and shut the fuck up and get out there and protest against those prostitutes and protest against the cartel who own all the clubs and go at the government and try to make that shit end. But you're not going to do that because you're not against prostitution. You're just against the tourists. You're not against gentrification. You're just against the tourists. This woman is full of shit. And I would have flamed her. But Mariah Sincere, she, she's a woman. It's only but so much, she could do. You know what I mean? Full of shit.